And this training taught me so much. It taught me so much. You know, I was training when I didn't want to train. I swam 3 times a week with a trainer that I still train with. I went from 10 laps to 20 laps to 40 laps to 100 laps. I would be swimming 2K at a pop, 2 kilometers at a pop. I would be cycling for an hour and then go into the treadmill and run for an hour. My legs were like jelly. I thought I was going to fall the first few times. Again, over and over of this cross training, going from a swim to a bike, the bike to the run, going into my pain points, going to where my body was literally broken. And I wanted to quit, I wanted to cry, but I kept pushing and pushing because I had that goal. Again, I did this all on a plant-based diet as well. So I had all these hurdles to come with. I did this all while running London Real and teaching in my academy and broadcasting every single week. There was a lot of pressure, but I realized that most people quit at 40%, and I could do all these things. I could do all these things. And I had amazing people supporting me, the team, my wife, my family, but I put in the work. And I remember doing 3-4 hour bike rides in the rain. And I hated the bike. And my feet were frozen. They felt like blocks of ice, and I was just pounding over and over again through the rain and just pushing, pushing, pushing. And it was a really emotional experience, but it taught me so much about my limitations and how, you know, I don't have limitations, but I had placed so many around me. And so then it was time to run the race. And I flew to Chattanooga, Tennessee, which is just north of Georgia, which is down in the dirty, in the deep South. And I went down there. It was hot. It was 90 degrees Fahrenheit out. I had never trained in such heat. I was not ready for it because you can't even do that in London, even if I wanted to. And I got there, and now it was time to put it all on the line. Now it was time to race in open water where people were going to be punching me in the face, in a river where you can't see anything in front of you. I was going to be doing it for real with lots of other people. The whole world was watching. I had a camera crew there. And this is what happened that day, May 20th, 2018 in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
You got the water, you got the road, the wind. He protects souls on the path.
Part of who you are. It's your story.
It's time for you to man up. To once and for all, tell your mind who the fuck is boss.
If you never push yourself in life like this, then you kind of miss out.
You have a worldwide audience right now that's inspired by you. So that's why you must finish.
You'll be coming through that finisher chute. You would have had all of these things that you would have thought about. That seems so intense, and then it's gone. We'll never get that back. You'll never be able to hold on to that exact moment again. John really crushed it. We can see that Brian swam 30-50. That's a super solid swim.
very, very hot, and that will be the battle that they're going to face today.
He's halfway through the race on the bike. They're riding almost the exact same pace. I've just got an update from the course. Unfortunately, we just heard that John has broken his chain. Reality is, once you click over the halfway, you have this kind of big feeling of like, okay, I'm over halfway done. But then those miles from 30 to 40 to 50 can be a little bit tough.
John must have gotten his bike fixed. He's past 45 miles on the bike, so he's in it to win it.
Where's Brian?
This is really where the suffer starts, to be honest, because it's hot and you're close, but you're never close enough.
Come on! Let's go!
You're moving really well, Brian, okay? Just keep doing what you're doing. Make sure you take in enough ice and water. You got this. You're doing awesome. All right, I'll see you soon, okay? You look great.
Brian Rose.
Whew, I got some serious flashbacks. I can literally remember almost every mile of that race. It's like it was crystallized in my head. It was a hot day in Tennessee, and I remember the night before I got an email from Dan Pena, my mentor, the $1 trillion man. And he wrote me this 2 or 3 page email, of course, in all red capital large letters. And he said, Brian, leave it all on the course. Whatever you do, leave it all out there. Give everything you've got. Don't save anything for later. He said, do that and you'll never regret your performance. And I took that to heart and I jumped in the water. And once I got focused, the swim was strong and I got on the bike, and about 4 miles in the bike race, I was in a group of a bunch of guys with tattoos on the back of their calves, and it's an eye with like a little circle on it, and it means you've done a full Ironman before. What you saw me do there was an Ironman 70.3, which is a half of a full distance. And I was racing with them, and I thought, this is bullshit. I can go faster. And yet I'm surrounded by guys that are supposed to be the tough guys. And I remember what Pena said, and I remember what Samantha said, and I remember what Goggins said, and I said, fuck this. I'm going harder. And I started passing all of these Ironmen on my bike. And I had the fastest cycle I've ever had in my life on that race. It was like a 2 hour and 40-some minute, 56-mile ride. I never had anything close to that in training. And I just I just said, I'm going for it. And I'm not going to let my brain stop me. And I pushed through that. And I went to the T2 transition. I put my running shoes on and I started running up a hill, and it was so hot and both of my hamstrings cramped up on me and I was done. I could barely move. Luckily, I had done that in training and I knew I just hobbled along for a while, and I just hobbled along doing like a pimp walk for a while, and then it freed up. And I remember that run was the hardest thing to do. It was a half marathon, 13 miles. It was hot. There was traffic on the highways and I was running by these cars that were just like the heat was coming out of their things. And I was used to running by kilometers, and I could hear them in my headphones normally when I ran, but this was miles, and every mile seemed to take forever. It was like 1, 2, 3, and I was like, I got 10 miles to go, but I just couldn't let myself quit. There was too much on the line. There was too many people watching me. I had put too much effort in. I didn't want to let people down. I didn't want to let myself down. And I proved to myself that day that I had so much left in the tank. And I remember thinking the whole time on that run, I don't know how guys run the full Ironman where you have to do a marathon at the end. But now that I've done it, I realize what they do. They just go into their brains and they tell their brains, I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to quit at 40%. And so that was an amazing race. Just want to send big thanks out to John Joseph, Samantha Murphy, Rich Roll, Bartek, my swim coach, all the people that really counseled me through that whole thing. The team at London Real, my wife Mariana, everybody was amazing. It really taught me a lot. And I meet people all the time and say, Brian, what was that like? I'm like, you can do an Ironman 70.3. You're within 90 days of doing it. And most people say, no, I can't. I'm no good at the swim. I'm no good at that. And I'm like, that's just your brain. That's your brain quitting for you at 10%. Not to mention 40. Anybody can do this. I saw 65-year-old ladies doing that thing. There was a 71-year-old person on that race. So it's definitely doable. So I'm asking you, what are you stopping yourself from doing right now? What can you push through and do?